Greetings, this is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com, and today we're going to take a look at the Thrustmaster TX Racing Wheel Ferrari 458 Italia Edition. That's a mouthful. This is the wheel right here, and we're going to go over some of the key features of the wheel, what it offers, some of its pros and its cons, and we'll even play some games with it and we'll take a look at it. So sit back, sit tight, and enjoy the review. So a key thing to point out about this Thrustmaster wheel is that it is meant to be mounted to a table. If you try to use it on your lap, it's going to go all kinds of crazy. You want to have it mounted to a table where it's firmly in place because there's a lot of force feedback. And if you have it on your lap, it's going to move like crazy. You almost have to put your hand on top of it, hold it in place to even play, and then you're racing one-handed. And if you're playing a simulation like Forza where you really need two hands on the control, especially if you're using the paddle shifters, you're going to have a problem. So if you don't have a place to mount this wheel, either in a cockpit if it's going to go in your living room, or if you're going to use it with the PC on a computer desk, or if your Xbox happens to be at a desk, you'll be alright. But if you plan on trying to use it on your lap, you can forget about this right now because it's not going to work. You definitely need to mount it. You need to have that stability. And I'm going to show you why in a second when we take a look at the kinds of force feedback that you get out of this wheel. So here's a little sample of the kind of action you can expect from this game as far as the feedback goes. So as you can see, it's pretty intense. It really gets spinning a lot on its own, and if you don't have it mounted to a desk, you can imagine that type of feedback sitting on your lap. It's going to be almost impossible to keep the wheel under control. Alright, so here we are doing a little bit of racing, playing some Drift 3, which is an off-road kind of racing game, available on PC. And the wheel feels quite good. It's got a good amount of life to it, and as you can see, driving along the line is not hard. The pedals still are not very good, so I do have to keep my left foot on the pedals to keep them in place while racing. But it's kind of a way of sitting that I've gotten used to. And overall, I mean, it's definitely very fun to race with this wheel. It's not perfect, and there's definitely more affordable wheels available for racing on the PC, but for the Xbox One, it's pretty good. And you just got to see me make a nice awesome crash, and who doesn't love to see a crash, right? In the end, the Thrustmaster TX Racing Wheel is not a bad piece of gaming hardware. In fact, it's a pretty decent piece of gaming hardware. But it does come with a $400 price tag, which is just a little bit too high when you compare it to some of the other models on the market. And it has very poor pedals, which feel very cheap and they move quite easily. So when you're racing, they tend to move around, and that's definitely not good. You want your pedals to be firmly in place, so what you end up having to do is rest your foot on the base of the pedal and then push it, which requires you to drive with 2 feet, which depending on how you're sitting may not be the optimal way to go. The wheel itself, on the other hand, is quite solid. It has a nice grippy texture on the wheel, which makes it easy to hold on to. It's got paddle shifters, which make it comfortable to shift. It has all the buttons that you need, which is great, and it's very good. It does need to be mounted to a table in order to be played properly because it will move around like crazy with the force feedback. So you have to put it on a table or turn force feedback off. Either way, it's not the optimal option, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. In the end, I would say unless you really need a wheel that works with your Xbox One, you're probably better off waiting and seeing what other companies like Mad Catz come out with for the console. But if you need one right now and you do have a table to mount it to or a cockpit to place it in, the Thrustmaster TX will definitely do the job. It just does it with a pretty high price tag. Once again, this is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com. Make sure to go to MakeUseOf to get the full review. And thank you very much for watching.